So this brings me into a comment that a black woman made on YouTube that someone told me about. And it goes like this. In my observation, sexual liberation with all its good intentions is a complete and utter lie. All it really did was lead to an upsurge of broken homes, baby daddies, baby mamas, abortions, and STDs on otherwise good people. On top of that, it encouraged the sexual objectification of both men and women. I've heard people refer to their nameless sexual partners as males or females, like they're some kind of breeding animals. Or seen people refusing to have sex with virgins because they get too clingy or too needy, quote unquote. Since, of course, it's trendy to reject and ridicule the emotional element to sex and pretend there's something wrong with feeling a closeness with someone you shared your vulnerable naked body with for 3 minutes to an hour. People are not sought out because of their charm or their compatibility, but solely for their bodies to be used for sex. There's a total and complete lack of emotion, humanity, or care now, and it's sort of sad how much is being encouraged when this sort of thinking used to be frowned upon. The only thing that has changed is now our ability to be comfortable and empowered by our own decisions instead of objectively thinking about what a hedonistic approach to sexuality actually means for long-term satisfaction. Are we really happier? Are our relationships stable and secure? Are our children okay? Do we feel empty after sex, or do we feel warm and close to someone? Do we even feel like we can be ourselves during an encounter? We need a more balanced approach to human sexuality that isn't repressive and shame-ridden like so many religions force it to be. But at the same time, it's not overly hedonistic and nihilistic like so many enlightened liberals are pushing it to be. Maybe it can't be both. Maybe it has to be one or the other. And then it finally closes with, we need real relationships. So my response to that is that, in short, women are inherently evil by nature. So that is why when you read things like this, it's always a woman who's already bought into the system and has paid the price of hookup culture. Like I said, maybe we can't have it both ways. Maybe it has to be one or the other, repression or liberation. You know, you can't be somewhat liberated, can you? You can't be somewhat liberated. That's an impossibility. So she's already, women like this, when they talk, they're already usually off the cock carousel, so it doesn't matter to them anymore. They got kicked off the carousel essentially by younger, more attractive women, and would probably still be on it if they hadn't been kicked off and replaced by younger, more attractive women. They've already danced with the devil, and it's too late. They already bit the freaking apple that the snake was offering. They already opened Pandora's box. You know, of course, it was a woman who did that, and, you know, because they're always tempted by better. Hypergamy, you know, and that essentially that starts with Eve, you know, the classic fucking tale. She wanted the apple because, you know, whatever, that the snake said it would lead to immortality or whatever the hell he said. And, you know, that kind of also makes me think of that joke with the elevator. And the guy says to the woman, on the first floor is a handsome man. On the second floor is a handsome rich man. On the third floor is a handsome rich man who's good in bed. And then it just goes up and up and up like that. And then once the woman gets to like the seventh floor, there's nothing there. And then the guy's like, well, clearly you can't be satisfied, so there's nothing on this floor. But then the opposite joke is with the man. And the man says to the guy, okay, on the first floor is an attractive woman. On the second floor is an attractive woman who never talks. And the third floor has never been visited. So, anyways, that's a good classic joke. But it kind of gives you the full picture of hypergamy and just permanent female dissatisfaction. Not just with men, but just in general, just with their situation, period. Whatever that may be in life. And I'm going to keep bringing up Aisha Curry because she's like a classic contemporary example of this type of female. And she's in the public spotlight, so you can see her for yourself. You can verify everything that I say in my videos. You know, these women have accepted the deal with the devil. And to be fair, a lot of men are like this too. And a lot of us try to be hypocrites and say, like, you know, of course the male and the female is not equivalent. The man who slept with a lot of women is, it's the lock and key. He's a good key and she's a bad lock, right? Because women are the gatekeepers of sex. But a lot of men need to stop being hypocritical, because a lot of these dudes are sleeping around. They're like total man whores, and then they want to turn around and criticize women. But it's like, it goes both ways to a certain extent. A lot of us are realizing we can't get true love in this world or anything like that, so we just settle for sex and like broken pair bonding, serial monogamy, and all that stuff. There's this guy who posts on the Forever Alone subreddit, and he's always posting. I think he posts like every single day, probably multiple times. Kissless, seeking kissless, and he's in New York, which is not a unpopulated area, right? And clearly, since he posts this shit like every day, he hasn't found anything. I think this guy's like around 19 years old or something. It's like, dude, these women are doing anal at like 13 years old, and you're looking for a kissless female? I mean, I feel bad for you. That's all I have to say.